And we are live. How's it going, everyone? Super excited today. I know that's what I say every time, but we have a really big protocol on Solana joining us today. They are providing liquid staking to Solana, which has multiple layers. They're helping promote decentralization, also helping unlock capital efficiency on the chain. They were the first protocol to actually have a liquid staking solution on Solana. And probably an effect of that has been that we've seen them quickly rise to the number one protocol in terms of TVL, just shy of a billion. So we'll leave the introduction there. As I mentioned, we're lucky enough to have a couple members on from the team, Jekon and Seb. So excited to have you guys on. How's it going?
Hello. Yeah, I think
Hey,
it's pretty good so far. It's been a long week, but an exciting week.
Definitely. It finally seems like we're somewhat crawling out of Goblin Town. So super exciting in that regard. But I know for us in the space, at least, it's been heads down for, I would say, the past 3 months, but for over the past year. So I think it's really exciting to just see the market pick back up. I mean, it does help rise morale, but other than that, it's always been business as usual. And you can definitely see that in the releases that Marinade has coming up. I know we were talking just a little bit before this check-on about diving in and really getting just into what Marinade is doing, getting into the depths. Before we get too far, it'd be great if one of you guys just want to give some personal introductions and then also just what is Marinade and the goal behind it.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Sap?
should I take the lead? Well, this is me, Seb, also known as Cryptic. It's my little nickname. And I work with the community at Marinade, trying to make sure it's a nice, welcoming environment for everybody. And yeah, having great fun with the guys in the community work group. And we're doing, cool work together there. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, I'm Gekon, and I'm doing a lot of stuff in Marinade. I was basically starting as a tokenomics designer. I briefly was leading the partnership work group, and I'm basically back to tokenomics and like how to like tackle the strategic questions. So operating on that level. And I think like that's enough on who we are, because it's really more interesting, at least to me, what we are building. So what is Marinate? And I think we have like said it so many times, it's gonna be maybe like sound fake, so please excuse it, or like let's try to like sneak some minor alterations. But for me, Marinate is the first and leading liquid staking protocol on Solana. It's actually really simple. Users can deposit their stall into the pool, and there's an automatic strategy which is open source that takes this stake and distributes it across many validators in Solana, helping Solana become decentralized, secure, while unlocking the stake liquidity, because the depositors of the SOL get an MSOL, a derivative token back, and they can use it in the DeFi. This is like a product overview what Marinade is. But also what Marinade is to me and to Sep is a living, breathing, decentralized organization that is collaborating on building this thing and growing it, and being a good actor in the space and working with protocols, onboarding maybe new people into Web3. So that's an exciting angle. Maybe the users of DeFi or NFTs don't get to see that much, but for me, like this is where I spend all of my almost waking hours building stuff with other people, and a lot of them are super smart, really cool, all over the world.
Yeah, I think that's super exciting. And just to even lay a little more context, I think it's amazing how you guys have figured out how to contribute to something as important as the validators, quite literally running the network and making sure there's a consensus while also unlocking the capital, being able to use it in DeFi. I'm definitely not a validator expert, but one of the narratives has just seemed like it is a little bit difficult to get enough stake to actually have the validator to be profitable. So that's exactly where Marinade steps in. And it's a win-win. Users can still participate in DeFi, but then validators are getting the proper amount of stake, and it starts pushing you guys further towards your goal. I think I was looking at one of your mediums, and you guys have a goal of a certain amount of MSOL staked, and then also hitting this Nakamoto coefficient, really pushing for decentralization in Solana. So I do think it's really exciting how Marinade does have this living, breathing goal of decentralization that you guys are moving towards. Not sure if you have anything to tack on to this, but really just trying to power through as much context as possible. It'd be even great to just hear a little bit about the beginnings. How did this all come together? I'm sure it started to proliferate around this problem of validators needing delegates and also people looking for good validators to delegate to.
Yeah, maybe I can frame this explanation as a problem and solution, which usually helps. So validators need to attract stake. Obviously, Solana is a proof of stake blockchain, and a typical problem on proof of stake blockchains is that stake get concentrated. When you buy your first Solana, you want to stake it somewhere to secure the network, which is cool, get a sweet network inflation from that, or protocol inflation, which is now like 6.5 or 7%. And then you open like a validator list, and it works like a Google page. No one gets to a second page. Basically, you pick one from the top that looks like good enough. They have a nice logo, maybe like name, and they have a lot of stake accumulated, and you just go there as a new user, which gets you the yield, but it's not really making the network secure and decentralized. And the point of blockchains is to be decentralized. Like this is why we have a database. Like blockchain are a database, right? This is like an open ledger. And what's the point of having a centralized database if you can run it on Amazon or on AWS over a blockchain? Blockchain is more expensive, slower, like with more security issues. There's no support that you can call if something goes wrong. So why we are like striving to make it decentralized? Because it offers censorship resistancy. There's no single authority that can go and erase the stuff that you worked so hard to get, acquire, build, mint, all these verbs. And if then people go and just by staking made the network again centralized, it's kind of antithetic to the point and to the potential that any proof of stake blockchain, and so Solana specifically in our case, is doing. So yeah, Marinade kind of solves that by saying this is a single place where you can just deposit yourself, and we'll do the hard decentralizing work for you. And we even like give you. You can have the buy and eat it as well, because we'll give you the MSOL back. So your liquidity, your Solana token is not going to be locked in the validator, unable for you to use, but you can still like go buy NFTs with that, or I don't know, lock it as a collateral and borrow something against it and go play the DeFi game or whatever. Just keep it in your wallet if you prefer that. But it's basically like providing an easy to use solution to how to decentralize the network and doing the good thing and having all the benefits. And then how we started. We started on a hackathon a year ago, actually, in February. And the fun is, and it's become ingrained in Marinade's DNA, is finding the best solution, not trying to appease anyone's ego. At the end of the hackathon, two of the similar projects merged together because they had like one of them had really good tech solution, and another had really good branding. Like the Marinade kind of started there, and they find a way how to collaborate, merge the solution together, and from then Marinade, as you see it now, almost was born, or at least like the idea. Right now, of course, there's like a 20 contributors pushing the Marinade forward, and many new stuff gets built, and like the depth increases, the breadth increases. But like this was a year ago at the very beginning. And there's also like one really cool angle that the founders back then decided that they're not gonna just do an IDO, because having like an investor on board creates a really powerful position that can steer your decisions, maybe not towards what's best for the broad field of stakers, for the community, but how to create a situation where maybe tokens can be dumped on retail. So Marinade didn't do that. Ownership was basically given to users either in liquidity mining incentives or in retroactive, basically like claim, where people who started using Marinade like from the very beginning, from the launch on mainnet last summer or at the end of last summer, got some ownership of the DAO, and like so far there's no a single VC that might do something that's not gonna be for the like shared good of the protocol. So in a way, we feel kind of confident of labeling Marinade as the like public goods project or infrastructure project, because we've been able to defend this independence or an ability to do what's right, even if it's gonna be like hard or not gonna get us to an immediate token price result or what it's gonna be.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of exciting things in there. There's a few different ways I can go, but I think sticking on that idea of not having a venture backed raise and really leaving it up to people involved in the ecosystem, the community, is really notable, especially when you have a project with the ethos of decentralized and censorship resistance, and really looking to just spread stake out to the most optimal validators, of course, for users, but also for the chain itself. I'm curious, even to just loop Seb in a little bit, how has it been having something so grassroots and from the community up? I'm sure the community is very vocal. How do you go about building a strong community behind Marinade? I mean, it seems like it's very strong between the branding, the actual TVL support, and everything just going on within the protocol.
I think one of the things we try to do with our community is to create a non-hype environment. So to like not hype up any like token appreciation like in price and so on. Just try to get people on board with our ethos, with our values, and what we're actually trying to accomplish in the long run, which is decentralizing and empowering Solana and making it more robust and valuable in the end, right? I mean, we're all pretty bullish on Sol or the Solana network, and I think trying to make people aware, well, our community aware that when they're participating in Marinade on a DAO level or just a community level, and obviously using MSOL, what they're doing is that they're participating in something larger than just like holding a token and waiting for that value to appreciate. It's participating in making the whole Solana network more valuable. Like both from like the validator perspective, like we just mentioned, like how the stake is spread to so many validators, but also how that the stake is liquefied, and you can use that through MSOL in the world of DeFi. That also empowers the whole DeFi ecosystem as well, with all that value coming in there, which would normally be locked up. So we put a lot of effort into try to create a non-hype environment and try to like explain these important details. And so I think that's one of the main keys to it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty notable too, even in the sense of sometimes the easy route is to sort of make these hype environments, but really understanding your guys' goal, the ethos that Marinade as a decentralized community is looking to uphold for the next 2 to 20 plus years. It's not token price go up today. It's more about really bringing the education, keeping that ethos, which I think starts to transition us into like one of the bigger, I guess you could say, news topics that's been coming up. And it's this whole idea of the DAO that you guys are building out, and how you're doing it, I think, is really unique. It's probably best to just start from the top. What is the idea from this? Obviously, the point of the DAO is to make decentralized decisions, but how are you guys structuring this? How can people get involved? Where are we at in the process? Kind of a really loaded question, but we can start surface level and kind of pick it apart.
Yeah, I think like few things need to be said before. One maybe to pile on what Seb has said. For me, one of the biggest achievements with Marinade community is contributors that basically are contributing on a daily base and getting a compensation for it are recruited to the DAO or joined the DAO through the community. They discovered Marinade, they started using it, then they start being more involved, and now they are our colleagues, and that's awesome for me because the drive there is it's incomparable if you just like cold call someone if they want to join your company, or if you've been like working in Web2, getting recruiters messages on LinkedIn. So this is different. It's reversing the polarity on hiring. You discover something, you use it, you like it, you look for a way how you can make it even better. And like this is also a good segue. Like decentralized project usually release a token. It's really useful thing because the token is like an attention magnet. How you start observing the project, because the price usually reflects what the project is doing. If it's successful, it is as a place in the ecosystem. But often a question of like project having a token is, what can I actually do with the token? I can bet on the price going up or down, but why do you have it? Why is it all? Usually the project like promise the governance, but building stuff takes time, and actually preparing even like the mindset of the core members who started with the sole owners of the project to like move some part of the power, and which part of the power should be moved away, and not just from the core members, but maybe from the algorithm, or what should be governable, what should be just wired in, are the questions that should be asked, and sometimes take time to answer properly. So after I think 3 months of releasing the token, we were exploring what DAO infrastructure to use and how should Marinade's governance work. And we came to a conclusion that governance should be fun, because it's an actual thing that requires a lot of attention, a lot of time, a lot of dedication. It's not just voting yes or no. The voting is like the last part. There's a lot of discussion, some of them very heavy. Some users can be very passionate about and some builders can be very passionate about doing one thing and not doing one other thing, because world opinions, politics, identity, everything. So like doing governance is a hard thing, and it should be fun. And we were looking at how to make it fun in blockchain context. So we basically built used Tribeca DAO infrastructure tooling to build our basic model of governance, which includes locking tokens. And we were looking like, how can we use the lessons we learned from liquid staking, which is you put in the value, it's locked and doing something, but also you get something back and you can still like participate in the market. And we ended up creating a solution where on those tokens locked, you get an NFT back, and the NFT represents like your governor identity. We've connected it with the Marinade's new branding, which has like diverse set of animal chefs running the kitchen, running the like liquid staking, public good for everyone on Solana. And because we are also the users, we love how NFTs work and how they are driving the Web3 culture. So those chests are like some of them are more rare, some of them have jokes inside. And that was basically like the initial idea. And then we were looking, okay, what can we do more? And we realized that governance in other successful projects where we were looking contains not just the power of tokens, how much you hold, but also social capital. Someone is recognized on the forums or Discord because they are smart and they are like easy to discuss, even though they might be defending a different position than you approach the problem with. So the social capital and an actual capital should be represented in some way. So what we did is right now the amount of tokens that you lock into the governance will mint you the NFT with an animal chef, but the chef will be even like bigger. The animal will visibly grow based on the amount of skin in the game you have, the amount of tokens you are locking for a period of time to say like I'm here and I can't leave. Let's discuss. Let's decide. Let's govern. And you can immediately see from the NFT picture what's the financial position on the person who's defending something if they decide to make it their NFT or like NFT profile pic. And like people will be able to grow these animals. So once they get like more comfortable and maybe more bullish on Marinade, they can block more tokens and they will be able like to grow a small tiny octopus into a bigger one or the largest one. And this will be like visible, cool, and can provide like a sense of progress for successful governance. Seth,
awesome.
What have I missed?
I don't think you missed anything, but I can add something to it regarding the social aspect of it, and I think you put it very well. It's very important to keep in mind that governance, like on-chain governance, is not only the tokens. Like in the end, tokens is like the last step of it. So one of the things that I think is pretty cool that we're trying to do here is let anybody basically that has even the tier 1 NFT come with proposals into to like the governance aspects of things. So
yeah, sure. But also, I know what I missed. I missed that you can basically sell your NFT because it's really like a liquid staking, and whoever buys it buys all the tokens you have locked inside the governance. So basically, you have a liquid staking position or liquid governing position inside the NFT. That was the point I was trying to make and forgot it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's important. That's an important aspect, which will create quite interesting like situations in the market. We'll see how that plays out. But socializing the governance and putting weight into like all the steps before the actual vote is really important, I think. And we'll see how big of an impact this NFTs and the profile picture has into that aspect of the governance. But so that's a key thing to keep in mind. So over at Marinade, the way we go about it is that we usually discuss things in the chat and the Discord. That then kind of translates into more of a sticky conversation on the forum, and then that should then lead on to like a proposal. But in the end, anybody who's participating in the governance can come with a proposal, like the big fish and the small fish. So it's more about like how you present the proposal and argue for the idea than how much money you have in the end, which I think is we're doing our best to create an environment like that. And the basis of that is to just be as inclusive as possible to everybody in the Solana ecosystem, because partly what we're doing with this NFT governance and like the way we do the liquid staking, we're providing like to a large degree like an infrastructure service, and with the Marinade token, we're suddenly now in the position where we're able to provide like a bridge between the regular Solana user and like the validators and like the infrastructure level. So now if you're bullish on Sol, you can get Sol and hopefully stake it to MSol and participate on like a deeper level of Solana, like on an infrastructure level. So we'll see how that ties in with all the social aspects and so on, but those are the things I wanted to add to it.
Yeah, maybe like closing remarks about that. We actually have a launch date. So far, we've been talking that this will happen, but like the cool thing is, finally, after months of building, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, at least for us. It's actually, it wasn't a tunnel, and it's not light. It's just starting the process because governance is scary. But I think we're launching next week on Monday, actually. So people will be able to get their Marinade tokens and log them inside the governance. They will get the NFT when doing that. Well, basically, like the locking and minting is the whole process. There's no locking of tokens without minting. So you will mint NFT by locking the tokens, and they can start governing. And we try to make it like more fun, more compelling. So the first, I think, 3,333 NFTs minted will be a limited edition. So they will feature a different animal than the regular edition. And again, we're doing something weird with the NFT governance here. Usually, like we are following the meme of NFT having like a limited cap, but then the other edition will have like 100,000 mints possible, and then we'll just do a new animal. So there's like an infinite supply of NFTs. Anyone can really like just get a bunch of tokens and start governing. There's no limits or like necessary like price speculation on being part of governance of like one of the infrastructure projects on Solana. But there's still the playful part where you can like speculate on rarity of your particle chef, or just get one that you really like and grow it.
Yeah. And I just want to jump in here and footnote a couple things, catch myself up, maybe even the audience. But I think there's just a lot of things, starting with the social layer. I know you guys talked about the fact that the vote is really the last part of it. The vote is a very small part of governance, right? There's all the discussions going up into it, and then you have the vote, and then it's actually implementing it. The vote is the smaller part. And I think the social aspect should not be glossed over by any means, in the sense that if you look at most DAOs, first of all, we can set another footnote just in the fact that how early governance is. I mean, governing things, if you even just like zoom out on like a macro level, governments haven't even been figured out on that level yet. So trying to apply this at a protocol level, there's obviously going to be a lot of learnings, and there's going to be similar issues, right? How do you incentivize people to vote? How do you make sure people vote? If you look at a lot of quorums across DAOs, the participation is a little bit lacking, but it's something that everyone is looking to improve. And tying in a social aspect like that is one of those ways, I think, that it gets people more involved. It adds more to it. Not just having, look, I'm a token whale, I'm going to skew the vote. There's a social aspect behind it, and it's very apparent. Even if I don't have the most Marinade tokens, even if I'm one of the smallest holders, if I'm in there active with my NFT, with my social aspects, presenting good ideas, the community can respond to that and then go ahead and vote. So I think that is super exciting. And the whole thing of having this community behind it and having a good social factor is very important, because most NFT projects do have this issue of getting people to participate in the discussions. And it's a lot more than voting. It's lots of thoughtful discussions in the Discord, taking it to a form. And then really, once you have a good idea of what's going on, putting it on chain. And then of course you have to execute it. So I think that's all super exciting.
If I can comment on that, I have one fact and a couple of like values that I can attach to this or append. First, I really like that like Solana is a new chance for the good part of culture that happened on like Bitcoin, Ethereum, basically the stuff as it's opening up for more users. So like from the very beginning, we try to see that there are no stupid questions. People are just new, and what someone had like years to absorb, someone is just starting now with being excited about NFT and trying to buy it, or being excited about prospects of Solana that is really fast and cheap, and wanted to be involved, whatever small investment they can make. So I think that's been part of Marinade since the beginning. It translates into product. It really should be like easy to use, or the staking should be really straightforward. Brand should be approachable. People should be approachable. I guess spending time in the Discord, not just like putting a community manager in front of them. That's one angle, and another angle is who's small today might be a big fish in a year or two. So I guess like treating people with respect is something we're really trying to do. And again, like applying the same approach to how we're designing our product. Part of the reason is anyone with like the smallest position in the governance, which is right now, I think like 1,000 MND is to mint the smallest NFT, the level 1 chef, can take a proposal which is in draft and make it active, saying we should be deciding on this. It's important to me, and that's how I believe projects should run things, not just cater to like the biggest investors who are able to corner the market or the whales. And like I have a tremendous respect of whales, like getting big in these conditions. It's just like who's small now can be a whale tomorrow, and I would love to be part of the story. Yeah, and then like when we are looking at the data on the blockchain, what Marinade stake pool is it's basically like really diverse. There like 10,000s of stakers. It's not like 5 people depositing or 5 institutions depositing millions of SOL. There are people depositing like half of SOL just to be part of it, and we have an obligation to keep it that way and grow it. Of course, it's going to be a difficult conversation when there's like 50,000 different voices having an opinion, but that's a challenge and an excitement of building a decentralized protocol.
Yeah, 100%. Just to dive in a little bit nitty gritty here, I see some questions from Ben. Someone answered it, but just want to confirm it. So he's asking top level if the limited edition NFTs are deflationary in the sense of if I put in and I'm one of the first 333 or 3,300, 33, and then I go and burn that NFT, can someone else get it, or does the supply reduce from there?
Yeah, the supply is reduced. Basically, how it works is you locked in your tokens inside the governance, you get the NFT back. This is the main process. We are not selling anything. There's no like monetary transaction happening between like the user or the want to be governor and Marinade. Is usually really like you're depositing tokens, creating the account necessary, and getting an NFT back. So this is not a sale. This is an issuance. I don't know how to call it. And then if you want to get your tokens out of the governance, you unlock them. This process takes 30 days, just so you are not able to vote something destructive and immediately leave and sell your tokens. So you have to wait for yeah, how it's going to turn out. And we hope that this will incentivize people to actually vote well and like consider the risk of deciding badly. And after the 30 days, you go back to the governance. You basically burn your NFT, which is like a receipt to your tokens, and you get the tokens back, and you are free. So in this way, if people minting the first 3,333 tokens decide to go out, they can burn the NFT and get the tokens out, and the limited edition will be deflationary. But it's really like a nature of like the system. What I can say is there are 2 things to prevent like a big pressure on deflation. One is if you are unlocking something, you can reverse it. So you can anytime go back and say, okay, I want it out, but I want to stay in Marinade right now. You can just click a button, and the unlocking will be basically like reversed, even like restarted in one transaction. So you will be able to start governing immediately. And second, you don't have to burn your NFT. You can just sell it on a secondary market, so someone else can enjoy the the limited edition chef.
Awesome. Yeah. And then just reiterating, Ben, it will be Monday, as in the 4th of April, just to reiterate on that. And then I think just a big question that I had is just in general, what does the DAO look like? Like, who is expected to be in the DAO? Obviously, the community. And what kind of utility and innovation can they drive to Marinade as a whole? So, a little two-part question there. But what would be some thoughts of how the DAO can create utility and really drive innovation to Marinade?
Yeah. So the witty response would be, you tell me. We have forum open for anyone to write a proposal what the DAO should be doing, and this is how, or what the DAO should be looking like. And just like this is an open conversation, not like pull request. So
well, I can add something to that as well. I mentioned earlier, like the infrastructure level and being able to participate on this deeper level of Solana. I think if you're bullish on Solana, Marinade is probably a pretty good place to hang out in, because then you can participate on a deeper level of Solana when it comes to decision making, conversations, and so on. I mean, one cool part of our community, like I kind of touched upon earlier, is that we have a mix of validators and like ecosystem players, like projects. We have regular like DeFi enthusiasts, and also now like NFT enthusiasts as well. Like it's a really diverse crowd, and I'm not gonna say it's the only one, but I think it's one of the few communities out there where we have this diversity. Like literally all parts of Solana is there, and all parts of Solana is like obviously interested in participating on this level. So I would say, like, if you're bullish on Solana, you should be kind of bullish on Marinade and participate in the DAO, because you will actually be able to be part of kind of like making the network more valuable in that sense. So those are the people that should be interested in our DAO first and foremost. But also, like Ekon said, like it's very open as well, and we're trying to be extremely inclusive. So also, you tell us to a large degree too.
let me add one, I think, metaphor that I like using about this DAO culture. I think if Marinade is successful, and with the stake we currently have, it's already an important player in Solana security. Marinade can become really like an open kitchen when all of the interest groups in Solana can meet and discuss what the network could be. That means validators who are securing the network and really they are like powering it, protocol developers from Solana, DeFi users, NFT users, other DAOs, because like everyone needs the transactions to be validated and achieve consensus. So this is for us like an ultimate goal: be a kitchen that is able to host this open and really like serious discussion between like different interest groups in a nice way.
Yeah. And now I think a really good question. We spent a lot of time on the NFTs, what the voting would look like. I think and we hinted at this a little bit, but where would users go if they want to start getting involved in the DAO? Obviously, this mint on Monday is one step, but we glossed over a little bit of what the discussions look like, how they move through, and what it'll really look like. Where would someone start to get into all of this?
I think that we have two touch points mostly, or three of them. One is Discord, another one is Twitter, and the one for people who love to read and think is forums. So Marinade.finance, which is our website, can provide a portal to all three of those.
Awesome.
Yeah, but the main stuff happens first and foremost on Discord when it comes to like these like deeper chats and discussions. That's where you can literally talk directly to a project leader in the ecosystem or a validator as well. So that's first and foremost in our Discord. That's where like the action happens. But if you want to stay up to date, definitely like stay up to date with the forum, our Medium blog as well, and Twitter for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think you had one more important question, which is how can people start governing, and what is the innovation like? So I maybe want to point at one exciting proposal, one scary and exciting proposal we have currently on the forum, which anyone can just go and read and think about, their own time. Part of the chefs wrote a proposal where this whole stake pool, which is now containing, I think, like 6.5 million of SOL, can be governed directly by the holders. So in governance, they can basically do, they can indicate preference to which validator should the part of this whole pool go. And this could create like completely new dynamic in the network. Imagine where you have a DAO that is running a validator, for example, and it consists of a lot of people who might not be like big whales, but they are really like they're able to get inside the governance and click a button. So you can maybe collect a lot of influence just by being loud on social networks, or if not loud, you can be helpful of social networks, and people can start noticing that and convert this social capital into your additional stake on your validator. But on the other hand, like this could be problematic. So there are discussions like how limited this power should be, and inside the proposal, even some limit is suggested. So this will be, I think, one of the first things to be decided via governance if Marinade should even like attempt this transition from completely algorithmic, deterministic way to maybe like allowing people to express their opinion and preference, which can on one hand unlock a lot of power and potential for the network. On the other hand, it changes the nature of the Marinade core project, which is the delegation strategy.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think that example, at least for myself, really helped paint the picture of things that the DAO can decide on. Like that's a very substantial change. And like you said, there's benefits and there's also some secondary and tertiary consequences to think of as well. But I do think it's really exciting to paint that picture of how important it is. And it really just ties back to the fact that I think Seb mentioned it. If you're bullish on Solana, being a part of Marinade still lets you get that capital efficiency while having a bigger voice and a bigger stake on the infrastructure level of what's going on. So I think that's super exciting. I'm starting to personally get down to the bottom of my questions. I have something that is a little bit fun though, that we've kind of spent the whole stream talking about, but it's always cool to try to cram it in a couple sentences. But what do you really think differentiates Marinade from other liquid staking solutions? I know we're seeing a few other ones pop up, but what do you think really differentiates Marinade?
Yeah. I had another hopefully useful metaphor for this. If you look, for example, at the second biggest stake pool on Solana, for a user or depositor, it's basically the same. You deposit your SOL into it, and you get some derivative back, and you can go play with it in DeFi. And this is where there's like a water surface. And now, like let's imagine that the camera dives in underwater, and let's observe what's happening there. The other stake pools are not really decentralizing. They are staying within like the security group of the biggest validators. So if you, and for some reason you are interacting with blockchain, a decentralized network, if you are not trying to protect this aspect of it, is it going to last? And what side of the helping it to last, helping it to fail are you on? If you look in Marinade under the water, there's like this delegation strategy, which is taking the SOL and spreading it across 450 validators right now. So there's like a huge chunk underwater that has the same stuff above the water, and it looks like the same. You get a derivative back, but underwater, this is the delegation strategy that's basically making the network more resilient, and that's been always our goal. But it's really hard to show someone who's above the water surface that there's like a 90% below it, and it's really important.
Yeah, it's difficult to understand it at first when one is new to like utilizing the stake derivatives. Like the first thing a new user in DeFi looks at is like the APYs and the rewards and returns and so on. So like Ekon just said, like the main differentiator is like in the end kind of the mission, the goal with the stake pool, and the delegation strategy. I mean, it makes an extreme difference. Like Marinade delegates to more than 400, it's like 450 plus maybe even, more validators on the network. Like that has an extreme like importance to Solana. It makes it more robust, more resilient, and in the end actually way more valuable too. Versus other stake pools, like for example the second largest, that stakes to the super minority and their own validators or whitelisted friends, or that's like I think stake like 15. So it makes a huge difference. So when one wants to like really like make a choice and take a qualified decision, one has to like look for what kind of like mission one wants to support, and what kind of delegation strategy one wants to support, and what delegation strategy one think provides the most value to Solana as a network. So there's like a key thing to keep in mind when one makes a decision.
I think one another angle is we are Solana native. We don't have investments or basically interest in other blockchains at this point. If you're gonna be governing Marinade, you will be governing what's happening on Solana and project on Solana. It's not someone from other blockchains governing on the questions you have or the problems you have right here. That's, I think, a big difference.
Yeah, that's a huge importance too. Like it would be a little bit like, think about it for a second. Like we have the second largest one, that's Lido. They're really big on Ethereum and done an incredible job on Ethereum as well. Like I'm gonna be honest, I've been using Lido on Ethereum myself. But when it comes to Lido operating on Solana, you have to keep in mind that then that gives the Ethereum community a say on the Solana infrastructure level, depending on how big they are. So that's something to keep in mind too, as well, like Ekon just said. But then there's other stake pools as well that are Solana native. And I think from my point of view, they're doing their part in trying to make Solana better. They're way smaller and they have a total different delegation strategy than what Marinade has. So again, circling back to that aspect with like identifying the delegation strategy and choose the one that you think aligns with your motives and what you want to do for Solana. So yeah, I think that's key things to keep in mind when it comes to making a choice or comparing or whatever. Not actually looking at the size or anything. It's like delegation strategy and that mission. Like what is the stake pool trying to accomplish?
Yeah, 100%. I think it ties back into the ethos that we led with, that Marinade puts up front of looking for anti-censorship and decentralization. It also goes to show exactly what this massive release is. I think that's just adding ethos, adding fuel to the fire, that Marinade is really looking for decentralization by putting in this DAO and really striving towards governance. It's not an easy feat, as we kind of spent the past 50 minutes talking about, but it is massive for moving forward and trying to keep that ethos intact. What I will say to end this off is just open it up for you guys if there's anything else that you want to add on, what's coming in the future. And then I think the best place to point users here would be the Medium article that you guys put out. So I can easily drop that in chat here on YouTube. If you guys are watching on Twitter, I can throw it in the comments as well. But yeah, curious if you guys have anything mid to long term that you're excited about, one about either the network or Marinade itself.
Yeah, like many things. So many things. as Seb was saying, we're bullish on Solana, and we see how rapidly it's improving. Like throughout the transaction like drops, this is getting like better, and improvements are being implemented through various RPC services and pools, like decentralizing, or at least diversifying this layer, and then like for us, it's incredibly, or at least for me, it's incredibly privileged to see that there are smart people who want to contribute. It's not about just using the protocols, but taking their time and smarts and like kind of rolling the sleeves and start building. That's fun. And these people, and what I'm also like surprised to learn, it's not just like weird old guy sitting in a cellar, but like people like you, me, everyone, like being excited on blockchain. That's fun. And then I think growth of the ecosystem altogether. Like there are big NFT culture projects that are exciting to watch. The DeFi on Solana has made a tremendous leap throughout the last like year, and like I'm excited what's next. And we're talking like with a lot of the protocols that are launching or about to launch. If you just go through the list of projects on the last hackathon, it's incredible. It's like to a point of stunning. So I think there's just exciting times ahead. Of course, there will be issues with network performance and DAOs and exploits and like culture war and everything. Blockchain culture will be mirroring the issues from the real world, but still, like I've been working on games for 15 years, and this is way better.
Okay, let me add something to what I look forward to, and I'm gonna focus on the Marinade token and the NFT. Obviously, since we're launching the NFT mint on this coming Monday, 4th of April. So keep in mind, like I'm a chef, I'm extremely biased, obviously, when it comes to these two topics. But I look forward to see the Marinade token being the most utilized token on the Solana network this year. Like what we talked about so far is like, okay, you can lock up your Marinade tokens to get the NFT, and then through that you can participate in governance. And then and we also discussed like validator wars, kind of like the Saber Wars thing. We can gouge for stake, and then additional like other ideas that is like being crystallized, and the DAO is kind of serious about those ideas. We'll see what the DAO decides though, but that is, for example, like rev share or like kind of token emissions to that NFT as well. And then on top of that, we have like fun discussions about, okay, well, could you gouge for like Marinade token emissions on DEXs and those liquidity pools as well? That's an additional thing. And there's like, I can go on for 10 more minutes talking about all these different utility aspects of the Marinade token, but we're really focusing on not like pumping the price. We're focusing on really providing that utility that gives that fundamental like true value to what we're trying to do here with the Marinade token. So that's my forecast here. Like Marinade token, the most utilized token on the Solana ecosystem this year.
That's awesome. And Seb and Gekon, I hope you guys had as much as amazing time as I did. Everyone in the audience, I hope you learned as much as I did as well. I think the biggest thing coming out of this is there's a lot of super exciting stuff for Marinade, and the fact that the DAO is really, and the NFTs and the governance coming is really the springboard for all of this to start happening. Gekon talked about a proposal that's already up that sort of hints at these validator wars that Seb just referred to. And then it just leads into the rabbit hole of all those other things that you were rattling off. So I do think it's a really exciting time for Marinade, especially considering that you guys have been you guys are the largest liquid staking solution and have the most total value locked on Solana. So I think this is an amazing place to leave it for everyone. Go ahead and check out the Medium article that I'll drop in chat underneath YouTube and Twitter. Other than that, thank you everyone for joining. And until next time, peace out, everyone.